All right, I'm happy to be joined once again by my next guest, Travis Bam Bam Davis, who will be making his Bellator debut on July the 16th at Bellator 262 when he meets Johnny Eblen. Travis, how are you?
Good, man. Yourself?
I'm good, but I'm not as good as you, man. This is the step up that I know you've been waiting for. We've talked about it in previous interviews before, and here you are now, Bellator debut on the main card on Showtime, which is a big deal. This guy, your opponent, is undefeated, so you're looking to give him his first L. Before we dive into all that, man, just tell me how you found out about this fight and the details, if it's a multi-fight deal and whatnot.
Yeah. So I've been training for. I was supposed to be fighting July 24th for Ohio Combat League against Tim Hiley, and I literally just got back from the PFL bubble with Dan Spawn. I was out there with him for his fight, and I think it was the following Monday, and I got the text message from Jason from Iridium, my manager, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to fight Eblen on July 16th at 185 for Bellator?" And I was like, oh, I don't even know who Eblen is. But I was like, I just searched Eblen MMA, and then of course Johnny Eblen's name pulled up. I sent the info over to my coach, and I was like, is this doable for us to go up there and fight on the 16th? And he was, I didn't hear from him for about 30 to 40 minutes. So I was kind of stressing because I know how some of these opportunities go, man. A lot of times they'll reach out to like several fighters at the same time, and usually it's like whoever says yes first gets it. So I was kind of stressing. I'm like blowing my coach up, sending him, hey man, I need you to answer back. I need to know as soon as possible. So he finally got back to me. We looked the guy up as quickly as we could, and sent a message back to Jason and said, let's do it, man. So it was, I think the next day they sent me the contract. And it was, it's a 1-fight, 2-fight option. So I'm obviously guaranteed the 1 fight against Johnny, and then they do the 2-fight option where they can sign me after the fight, depending on, how my performance goes, if, whether I win or I put on a good showing, things like that. So I don't have, I don't think that we're going to have any issues getting signed. I know I'm going to put on a good fight. Win, lose, or draw, I always come out to fight, man. I'm not easy to put away. I love to scrap. So I think this is going to be a really good fight for me, especially being on Showtime. This is the main card is super exciting. I didn't even find that out until I think it was last week, sometime in the middle of the week, right before they announced it. I found out that I was fighting on the main card.
Well, and this guy's number 5 in the division right now, man. So if you go in there and you beat him, that catapults you right into the mix, which is, I know, again, I've said it before, but this is what you've been wanting. So I'm stoked for you for this opportunity. I did want to ask you this too, and I didn't want to get too personal, but I had a friend that got a short notice fight for Bellator, and they compensated him very handsomely. Are you happy with the number that they're giving you?
Yeah, for sure. The price that I'm getting paid is, as embarrassing this may sound, it's probably, more than what I've made in my last, 8 or 9 pro fights combined. So, yeah, it's a huge step up in pay, huge step up in opponent, huge step up in stage. So, like you said, this is exactly what I've been waiting for, and I've been, fighting for 10 years now, dating back to my, first amateur fight. So, yeah, man, the pay is, it's exciting to know that I'm going to go out there and at least get hit and get paid to get hit, and not. I'm gonna go on vacation after this fight. That's what I get to do. Usually, I just got to pay my coaches and pay for my dues, and then I'm left with like a couple $100 to do some stuff with. This time, it's going to be a lot different, so it's pretty exciting.
Good for you, man. Congratulations. The 4th of July was just yesterday, so happy Independence Day to you and your family. So your vacation, your time off will be after the fight. You've probably been grinding and really didn't do a whole lot outside of just training and staying focused this past weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I did some 10 rounds of sparring on Saturday, 10 straight rounds of hard sparring for 5 minutes a round, and yesterday I actually took the day off to let my body recover a little bit from that sparring. So, yeah, I only have like maybe 1 or 2 really hard sessions that I'm going to get in before, I have to leave, Sunday, to fly out there. We have to be out there a week before the fight. So, This weekend we really didn't do much, staying on my diet and stuff like that. My weight's really good right now, so I haven't been stressing about the weight at all, which is a good thing. Usually I'm that's not normally the case with me, but my girlfriend has got my macros figured out, and she's been doing all my like setting up my meal plans and stuff, and so far it's going really well.
When you did find out this exciting news, who were the first couple people that you called, and what was their reaction?
So, of course, they send you the contract, and they say, in the first thing in the email is like, you can't tell anybody about the matchup, right? And I'm like, oh, this is going to be hard because I got, I already have a fight scheduled. I got to plan I got to plan the flight and all, and my cornerman and all this stuff. So obviously the first person I told was my girlfriend, and then my buddy from back home, Justin Linhart. I told him because he has been to pretty much every one of my fights ever since I was an amateur, and he always said, when I make it to the big show, he was going to buy a ticket and come. So him and my girlfriend were booking flights the day I signed the contract, and then honestly, the last couple of people I told was my mom and my brother because they can't keep their mouth shut. So they were kind of upset with me that I waited like a week and a half, almost 2 weeks to tell them. And my brother and his wife and them scrambled to get tickets as well. They're driving up to Connecticut. So yeah, those were the first couple of people other than my teammates. Obviously I had to tell my team to help me get prepared and make sure that, I could keep them accountable for coming to the gym and training with me when I needed the work and stuff. So those were the first couple of people I told. And honestly, I was stressing out a little bit because they didn't announce the fight until, last Thursday or so, or Wednesday or Thursday. And, I knew about it for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, man, are they going to announce, is this thing really true? That's kind of when I was like, is this really happening or not? So
Well,
yeah, that part of it was pretty challenging, because you finally get what you're looking for, and you finally get called up and you're like, oh, I just want to tell everybody, but you can't. So that part of it was a little tough, but we got through it.
yeah, very cool. And you got to give a big shout out to the owners and the matchmakers at Ohio Combat League, because you did have that fight lined up, the main event for the next card the week after this Bellator fight. So run me through that. I mean, it seems like they've been really just huge supporters of you and helping your career evolve as a fighter. So I'm sure it was just an easy decision for them to let you out of that fight so you can have this opportunity.
Yeah, Troy Speakman, man, is the owner of Ohio Combat League, and he's been a huge supporter of me, ever since I started. I've actually fought for him several times before it was Ohio Combat League. He used to do like the Arnold Sports Festivals every year and stuff, so I fought for him a lot when I was an amateur. And he's a really great guy, man, and he really, he was a fighter himself back, professional boxer, so he knows what it's like to be a fighter and trying to get to that next stage and break through, and how hard it is. And Ohio Combat League's been super supportive. That was the other thing. Like Tim Hiley, they ended up messaging his manager about a week after I signed to let him know that the fight was off, so he didn't sit there and wait till Bellator released it and then start cutting weight and all that stuff to find out that he wasn't fighting. So we had to kind of do that under the wraps and stuff. And like I said, they were super. Ohio Combat League's been super supportive about the whole thing. They're excited, obviously, to get a guy into the next level from their promotion. Because it's just going to hopefully open up doors for more Ohio fighters like Jarrell Hodge. And I mean, there's a bunch of guys right now that are like right on the cusp of getting to that next level here in Ohio. And, that's the big reason why they started Ohio Combat League and stuff. And so, yeah, man, it's, they've been great. They've gotten me boxing fights and pro MMA fights. And obviously I have a pretty big following and big fan base. And, and luckily for them, obviously I got to thank them a lot, because if I wasn't selling as many tickets, I'm sure a lot of these, the promotions wouldn't be excited to put me on all the time. You know what I mean? Like, but when you're a ticket seller and your fan base shows up, that's huge, man. So, marketing yourself and just building a good following is super important. Putting on
Yeah,
good
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Very well said. Well, the last time that I did speak to you, it was right before your fight against Ryan Parker, and you did get a round two submission victory there. Tell me about the outcome of that fight. Did that pretty much play out the way you anticipated that it would?
Yeah. The first round he spent, most of the round trying to take me down, which I kind of thought he would. I knew he was a wrestler. He's a bigger guy. He's got really long reach and stuff. The only thing that really kind of surprised me that he did well was he was able to kind of cut me off on the cage a lot better than I expected him to. But luckily, I felt like I was a little bit undersized for him. He was a little bit bigger than me, so my footwork was a little better, and I just felt like a little bit quicker. Every time he'd go to throw on me, I was landing before he was landing. In the second round, I planned on putting him on his back. And when I did, he actually, I shot a single and then ran a double leg on him. And when I ran the double leg, he dislocated his toe and on his foot, and he kind of panicked from that. So he gave me an opportunity to slide right into that head and arm choke, and he tapped from it. So no complaints there. Unfortunately, I hate to, take advantage of someone injured, but it's the fight game, man. A win's a win, and you're looking for the finish, whether you're trying to hurt him or he hurts himself. So, it was overall, I was happy with the performance. Obviously, I would have rather got a first round finish. I took him down in the end of the first round, and I was going to start looking for the submission, but ran out of time. So, like I said, I'm happy with the performance, and I'm also happy to be back down to 185 because I'm over fighting these guys that are, 220, 6'3", 6'4". So it's nice to be fighting a guy who's 6'3" or 6'2" at 185 pounds.
Yeah, that's a big difference, no doubt. Now, after that fight, you did have a boxing match in early June, and you got a UD victory there. Is that something that you're going to continue to do in conjunction with your MMA career moving forward?
I hope so, man. That's one thing I was talking to them about. I don't know what Bellator is going to do. I know Bellator has done stuff in the past where they've let fighters compete outside the organization while they're signed to Bellator. But I don't know if that's going to be an option for me. But I would love to be able to sit down with them and work something out to say, hey, if as long as my boxing doesn't interfere with the next scheduled fight or whatever it is, absolutely, dude. I'm being told that maybe one or two wins away from a professional world championship title shot, like an NABA title or a WBC title fight, something like that. The card that I fought on, one of the local guys from Cleveland, Alante Green, whose nickname's Bam Bam as well, and he just won the WBC USNBC title at that show. So I'm 5-0. I was actually supposed to be fighting the cruiserweight for that card, and I was already working down to 200 pounds when my opponent got injured like the week of the fight. So they found a last minute replacement for me, and I weighed 205 pounds and he came in at 263 pounds. And I was just like, all right, it's a lot bigger than I thought. I wasn't expecting that big of a boy, but it went my way. I dropped him in the first round with a right hook. And he ended up recovering from that, and we went the distance. I'll be honest with you, I wasn't trying to stay in the pocket too much because he weighed 263 pounds. I wasn't trying to get hit by all that, so I was fighting a little more outside range, trying to use my distance and stuff. I feel like if I would have just maybe in the third or fourth round, if I would have kind of pushed the pace a little more on him, I probably could have got the finish. But I was trying to fight smart and be safe about it, so. Is what it is, got the unanimous decision and moved to 5-0.
Yeah, being smart, especially against the size of someone like that, is really the right thing to do because power, one shot could change the game there. So
Yeah.
well done, well executed there. Hey, real quick, what do you think of like the Paul brothers and what they are doing with boxing, and how long would either one of them last inside of the boxing ring with you?
Oh man, ever since they've made it into the scene of boxing, everyone's been chomping at the bit to fight these guys, and I think the biggest reason is money. I mean, more than anything, as you can see in boxing, the pay is ridiculous compared to what some of these MMA guys are getting paid. I mean, Logan Paul and Jake Paul are, one and 1 or 1-0 and 3-0 in pro boxing. Yeah, man, when you're making $100 million to fight somebody, that's a lot of money. That's retirement money for most of these guys. I mean, I don't think most MMA fighters will probably ever see that in their career. So yeah, fighting one of those guys would be huge, and that's, I would love the opportunity to get in the ring with one of those guys. And, it's hard to say, they're obviously training hard, and, a lot of these people are overlooking them because they're YouTubers and stuff like that, but clearly they're putting in the time, to chase whatever it is they're chasing, whether it's the money or the fame or, maybe they want to be real pro boxers. But yeah, I mean, if you gave me the opportunity to get in the ring with one of them, I'm definitely going to knock them out. I'm coming after that for sure. I applaud them though for what they're doing, man. It's this game is hard to, it's hard to make a career out of it. It's tough, it's grueling, and they're doing a good job at marketing themselves and making the money that they want to make.
Yeah, again, very well said. When you talk boxing nowadays, you got to mention the Paul brothers just because they really are two of the most popular guys in the game because of what they're doing with the social media aspect of it. So they're the fight that everyone wants to have here moving forward. Let's talk about your matchup here, Mohegan Sun. I love the venue. I've traveled down and I've covered numerous Bellator events, and I love Mohegan Sun. Have you ever been there before?
Never been there. No, I've never even been to Connecticut actually. So this is going to be all of it's going to be a first trip for me.
Okay. Do you like gambling? Like, do you like casinos? Is that something that you enjoy?
No, I'm I'm a sore loser. So I don't really gamble much. I'm never really got into playing cards or like blackjack or anything like that. I've been to Vegas a couple of times. I've been to some casinos, but never really won much. So I don't really play that often or gamble that much. I'll bet some friendly bets with my friends and stuff on fights every once in a while and stuff like that, $10 or $20 here and there. But as far as gambling, no, I usually avoid the casino. I don't even do well on slots. So, if you can't win at slots, I'm not trying.
Okay, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, although I do gamble on some sports from time to time when I have a little extra pocket money. So I did want to get a couple of picks from you that are coming up. Obviously, this weekend you got the Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier trilogy. I want to get your thoughts. Who's going to win that? And then your new home Bellator, or at least that's what very well could be. That championship, the middleweight championship between Mousasi and Salter, is going to be next month. So I want to get those two picks. Who do you think are going to win in those two ones?
Man, I honestly think I got to go with McGregor on this trilogy fight. If he comes out and fights the way he used to fight, like if he comes out and fights the way he fought Dustin the first fight, where he threw a lot of kicks opening up the round, I mean, spinning back kicks and a lot of that stuff. I think I was listening to Wonderboy Thompson did an interview not long ago, and he was talking about Conor going back to that sort of karate style that he used to use in a lot of his fights, which he does early most of the time, and then he switches to that more of a heavy boxing style. I think if Conor does that, he's got a really good chance of winning. But man, Dustin's a dog, man. I really like Dustin. That kid is he's been grinding for years, and he's not afraid to get in there and scrap. And I think if the fight goes longer, it leads towards Dustin. And Conor's a front runner, man. He comes out fast, but he starts to fade later in the fights. So I think McGregor wins. If he wins, it's probably going to be by knockout early. If not, if it goes later, then yeah, I'd put my money on Dustin for sure.
Okay, that's kind of exactly where I'm at as well.
Yeah, I know it's a really indecisive answer, but it's just, man, that's a tough fight. Those guys are both really talented, and yeah, I look forward to that fight. We're actually going to put it on the big screen in my backyard and have some people over this weekend.
Yeah, I
before I
don't blame you.
leave.
All right, and so Mousasi and Salter. You got Mousasi, who's the current Bellator middleweight champion. John Salter, a wrestler, the #1 contender. For that's going to be in August 13th, I believe, is the date for that one. Do you know enough about Salter to make a prediction here for this fight?
Not really, to be honest with you. I know I've followed some of the middleweights in Bellator, but I haven't followed them that. Obviously, I'm going to be paying a lot more attention now. But Masasi's been around forever, man. He's a veteran. He's got really good wrestling. If Salter is a wrestler, I don't know how effective his wrestling will be against Masasi because he's always been a really good grappler. But Masasi's also, he's been in a lot of tough fights. So it just really depends on which Masasi shows up and how well I'm assuming Salter can imply his game plan.
Yeah, you don't want to miss this fight. Trust me, it's going to be a good one. They're roughly about the same age, size, and they're #1 and champion in the division. So it's going to be a great matchup. You definitely want to tune in. All right, let's talk about this fight with Johnny Eblen. He's undefeated. He's 8-0. He's #5 in the Bellator middleweight division. He's 4-0 in Bellator. He's got 3 UD wins and 1 finish. How do you like this matchup stylistically for yourself?
I really like it. Honestly, after watching film on him and stuff like that, I think it's a good matchup for me. He's got explosive striking. He throws a lot of power shots. Not that he can't mix it up, but he likes he likes to throw some big overhands, some big left hooks and stuff like that. He likes to press you against the cage, push you back, and then he uses his wrestling. He's a Division I college wrestler out of Missouri. He's really good at holding people down on the ground, and then when he gets you down, he goes berserk, man. He tries to get the finish right away. I think my wrestling, obviously I didn't wrestle Division I, anything like that. I went to the Marine Corps, did all that fun stuff instead of college. But I wrestled, growing up my whole life. I've had plenty of Division I wrestlers that I've worked with. But I think my jiu-jitsu and my striking, as far as my boxing pedigree and stuff, is gonna nullify his pressure. And I plan on using good footwork and I hope I have a hand speed advantage. For the most part, I've had a hand speed advantage on most of my opponents. So yeah, man, I think it's a good matchup for me. I'm actually, it's probably the best offer I've had as far as getting to the next level. I got offered Lorenz Larkin probably like a month and a half ago on 5 days notice. And I was like, there's no way, man. I'm like 220 pounds right now. They wanted me to get to 185. And I had to turn that one down, unfortunately. And but I would love to get in there eventually and exchange with Lorenz Larkin. That guy is super talented. And that would have been an awesome fight. But, I think this is a good fight for me to get my toes wet in the next in the next level for sure. Obviously he's 8-0. He's ranked #5. And like you said, if I go out there and beat this guy like I plan on, I should be right in the top 10 immediately, I would assume. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this one, man.
Yeah. Do you feel like he's faced as good of competition as you have in your career? Because he's 8-0, and a lot of people might say, well, maybe he hasn't fought guys as tough as you because you have a couple losses. Is that accurate, or do you feel like maybe he's fought some really tough opposition as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's fought a couple of tough guys. Honestly, that Taylor Johnson fight that he had for Bellator was a super tough fight for him. Watching that fight, I think the last guy he was fighting that was like 18-6. Obviously, that guy had a lot of experience and a lot of wins, and he clipped him with that that Masvidal switch stance that he does coming forward. He clipped him, dropped him, and then hammer fisted him to sleep pretty much. I think that was supposed to be, his step up. But yeah, I mean, I've fought, tough veterans. I've fought UFC vets. I fought Bellator vets before. So yeah, I'd like to think that I'm a step up in competition from what he's had. He's a blue chip prospect for Bellator, so they've been building him up since he was 4-0. They just signed him to another multi-fight deal. So obviously they have a lot invested in this guy, and they've been, I don't want to say picking, the right opponents for him, but they've been giving him good matchups. Maybe they feel like I'm a good matchup for him as well. But I plan on proving everyone wrong. That's for sure. I know that I'm coming in as the underdog, but I'm looking forward to it.
There will be fans in attendance come fight night. How amped up does that get you, especially for the biggest fight in your career? Is that extra noise, that extra energy just going to bring out the best version of yourself?
Absolutely, man. Unlike most of these, some of these other guys, I've been lucky enough to fight with fans the whole time, even during the COVID thing. When we opened back up in Ohio, they were letting fans in. It was just limited. It depended on the venue size and how much the capacity was and all that stuff. But yeah, it's awesome that my family gets to come and watch me fight and actually be there for my first fight in Bellator. I think it would have been weird to fight without fans for sure. So to know that my girlfriend and all them are going to be there, it's a lot more comforting, I would say. A lot less stressful than it would be if no one was there, for sure.
So if you do go in and get this win, man, like how active are you trying to stay? Can your fans expect to see you, compete as much as possible underneath the Bellator promotion?
Absolutely. I'm not getting any younger, so my motto has always been, if you're not injured, you should be fighting. Unless there's something that you're trying to take time off for to specifically work on, the holes in your fighting style or whatever it is. Yeah, man, if I go out there and get this W and they sign me to a multi-fight deal, I'd love to fight whenever. As I'll fight all the time. Like I said, I'm not getting any younger, so I just want to fight as many times as I can before I have to hang it up. And not that I'm thinking that's happening anytime soon. But if the opportunity, they say, hey, I fight July 16th and they need somebody for August, then put me in August. They need somebody September, put me in September. I'd love to stay busy. So it's easier to keep the weight off and all that jazz especially if you're fighting as well.
That's my next question. I was just going to say, how much time do you need to make that cut to 185?
It really just depends. I mean, like I said, right now I'm already at 200 pounds, so I'm already at like pretty much my cut weight that I usually, I usually drop about 2 or 3 more pounds, and then I do my water cut from here. Yeah, it depends. If there's a long layoff, sometimes I get a little heavier. I'll get up to like 220, 225, which is why I don't like long layoffs. I like to be active, and if someone says, hey, we need you, then I'm taking the fight. So really, like I said, they gave me this one on practically 3.5 weeks notice, but I was already cutting down anyways. I had already been on dieting and stuff to get down to 185. So this was like I said, it was an easy cut for me. It's going to be an easy cut. And, yeah, it really just depends on where you're at with your weight and, how many burgers and stuff that you've been eating and especially donuts and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I agree with you there 110%. All right, man. Well, listen, July 16th, it goes down. Bellator 262, Travis Bam Bam Davis, Johnny Eblen on the main card. You can catch it on Showtime. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, buddy. I feel like you're one of the best interviews out there. You always give really fantastic answers, well thought answers. So tip of the cap to you there. I want to give you the floor. Tell people where to follow you on social media, and if you have anyone to thank, the floor is yours.
Yeah, man. So you can find me on T Bam Bam Davis on Instagram. Those are linked to my Facebook account. I think it's Bam Bam Davis as well, and then Twitter. It's all the same. So you can find me on all those. Huge shout out. I want to give a shout out to my sponsors, obviously, that obviously help me keep this ball rolling, like Subzilla, Atlas CBD, the Training Room, Central House Spine and Joint. And then a shout out to my management team, for getting me to the next level, man. Iridium. I've been with them for a couple years now, and I'm excited that we're finally getting the opportunity to get to the next level, so they can make some money off of me, and I can make some money. So that's huge for me. And of course, my girlfriend, man, she's been super supportive. She went out and bought a bunch of fight dietitian books and stuff for me, and had read all these things so she could learn how to do my macros. So I'm not constantly being challenged with this weight cutting situation, getting back to 185, because this is going to be the first time I've been back at 185 in, almost a year and a half. I've been doing catch weights around here and stuff. 200 and 195. So this is huge, man. She's been super supportive, and obviously all my fans from back home in Upper Sandusky and here in Columbus. I have a really big following, and that's part of the reason why I'm getting these opportunities that I'm getting.